Here it comes! A fabulous fortune of pointless knowledge may go to you! Welcome, viewer! You're the next contestant on the Prinnies Right! Welcome to the PrinnyCast Roundtable, a casual weekly show where we talk about what we've been up to and all the various gaming-related stuff over the last week. It isn't necessarily game news, but it can be. We're your hosts for today. I'm Chris, and this is Grover.
Hello!
Mike's away watching Blizzcon streams as we speak all weekend long with a group of his buds. A shame not a single one of them seems keeping up with our show. We might be back in a couple of days to make a special video on the lowdown of what happened at BlizzCon. In the background, we usually have some Kickstarter projects, but there's been so many bundle videos this week that they may just take up the entirety of the show, so there may or may not be some Kickstarter stuff. But yeah, lots of new bundles, with Humble Bundles return, with WB Games bundle, with some fantastic deals no matter how you slice it. The Batman Arkham games, Fear games, and a whole bunch more for change. Yes, please. And their weekly bundle is also a great deal, too, with the developers behind the niche favorite Depona, with a whole chunk of their other titles available. And if you still have some money to grapple some gaming goodness, there's Bundle Stars with their Majesty collection. And over at Groupies, there's Be Mine X bundle, with a very eclectic bag of semi-recent big indie releases, and even the original Call of Juarez is in there. And lastly, the Indie Royale, they are on the debut Bundle 6, with a variety of genres to enjoy for currently under $4 for about 8 games. So lots of fantastic deals. We're talking games that are basically 50 to 90 cents per piece that would usually cost $5 to $60. So heck yes, great week for it.
Yeah.
Unless you don't have a lot of money, in which case...
Poor people like us.
Sadly, I haven't been able to keep up with all of them, but I got into the lower end of most of these.
Used to be the Humble Bundle and the Bundle Royale, and now there's like thousands of them.
Yeah, and there's even some other stuff. I think it's Activision. All of those old fantastic classics like Space Quest and Police Quest and Phantasmagoria and all these old school adventure titles, point and click stuff. They've got a whole bunch of those on sale this weekend. I didn't even know most of those games had been updated for like Windows 7, so just seeing that was kind of a
I can't get Fallout 1 or 2 to work on Windows, so I don't know how the hell they're going to get those to work.
Yeah. So what have you been playing this week?
Well, I am in a Disgaea craze still. I beat Disgaea 1 and got the bad ending. I found out what
you got the normal ending.
The good ending. For those wondering, spoiler, but if you somehow haven't played it, to get the good ending, you cannot accidentally kill one of your own people in a battle, which means if your person is next to a group of enemies and you want to kill the enemies, get your ally the hell away before you nuke them. That's something I did not do. I guess, does this mean you can't throw Prinnies? I didn't think about that.
I had a feeling you can't.
You can't throw the Prinnies, which I did accidentally twice. I was just not thinking and picked them up and threw them, to go kill something. And then they did kill it. They did kill it, but they killed themselves too. So it was just like, shit, that's not what I wanted at all. Which is funny because when you pick up a Prinnie and throw them, when you kill something, the person that threw them gets the experience. I'm just like, okay. Well, that works, I guess. Then I started playing Disgaea 2, and that game is blurry. I am using it on an emulator. Dun, dun, dun. I know I'm not supposed to, but yeah, I'm playing it on an emulator.
There's nothing wrong with emulators.
That's the PlayStation Network, and I found out that Disgaea 1, 2, and 3 are all on the PlayStation Network, so when my friend is getting a PlayStation 4, which they've already confirmed, I can buy and download them onto the PlayStation 4 and play there.
We'll cross our fingers. I've heard that the PS4 and the Xbox One is not very backwards compatible so far.
Yeah, I've heard the terrors of that. That will suck. If that case, I'll just get a PlayStation 3 and do it that way. Disgaea 2 is a lot like the other one, but with improvements and some disimprovements. One of the disimprovements is the item noise when you're moving from the inventories or you're clicking the button that can confirm something. That noise it makes every time drives me up the wall. And
the emulator seems like it's making it way louder than it actually is. I don't remember it being that loud.
Yeah, and when I could turn it off, but it requires turning off all the sound effects, which honestly, the sound effects make that game hilarious. So it's just like, no, this is unacceptable. I have to just deal with it. But other than that, the item world's radically different. I was just going for the item world as normal, and then suddenly pirates appear out of nowhere. I'm just like, what the hell is this? And I had to flee. I had to use my Genji to get the hell out of there. But yeah, Disgaea 2, very interesting. And then we got a Minecraft server running again. In fact, I'm paying for it. So my Minecraft server, and it should be called the PrinnyCast server, but we haven't got to that because the back end of that server is very, very slow. But since their prices are dirt cheap for 5 gigs of RAM, I forgive them for that. We're using Beat the Beast Ultimate, and it is crazy hard to do most anything because of Greg Tech, which I like Greg Tech, and then at the same time despise the person that made that mod because it makes the game so much more difficult.
There's too much of the Minecraft community that was getting so efficient at gathering resources that the only way they can make it worse is to make it harder to get the resources or make it where you had to have more of them.
Exactly.
So I understand the logic behind it, but I would not enjoy it. that way now.
So we just went to the other step. I started using geothermal for power, and now we have so much lava from me pumping lava that I honestly don't think we'll ever run out of power now.
Excellent.
So yeah, excellent. And that's about all I played this, a bunch of a couple games as usual.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of the going thing around here. We get stuck on one particular game at a time. Maybe a handful of them.
We're not normal gamers. We get crazy stuck on certain games.
I don't know. There's a lot of normal gamers that get stuck on their games too, like MMO players or first-person shooter players. So I'm now probably some people raise their eyebrows like, no. Most of the normal gamers I see anymore are just the ones that they play a game for about 40 hours and then they abandon it and go to another game. That can be true for a lot of the AAA titles like Assassin's Creed or some role-playing game or something like that. So yeah, and I'm kind of in that boat too. I don't have near as much on some of the games that I do that I should have.
That is true.
So
you're really busy.
I'm shaking a finger at myself. But even then, that's not really an excuse because you should beat the games you have and not go pining for something new when you have perfectly fine games already in your collection.
That is because so many games are available, unlike it used to be. You used to get a single game, you didn't get another game for a while, and you played that game to death.
Definitely my case back in the 16 and 8-bit eras, but I don't know, something happened during about the PlayStation 1 and this began. And I know exactly where it began too. I bought Lunar 2 and Final Fantasy 9 at the same time. If I have 10 hours between the two, I'd be surprised. And both of them are fine games. They're fantastic RPGs. But
number 9 is one that's willing to go back and play through.
And I will one day. I really will. I promise myself that then I get doing something else.
If we became phasic, we could split ourselves up and play like that. But damn it,
awesome.
Of nature.
So what have I been playing? Well, the Cookie Clicker and Tynan's probably a given. It seems to be that's what's going on in the background all the time. But there's nothing left for Cookie Clicker. Everything so far is done. So it's just kind of sitting there making numbers of cookies, and that's it. But a few Congregate goodies. There's been quite a few new ones in the last, practically just week. But most of my gaming this week has been on Horde and Mountain Blade from that Bundle Stars bundle. I'd actually heard of it before, and I could have swore it was one of those multiplayer-only games that was kind of like Counter-Strike, only instead of guys with guns, you're knights. I could have sworn that's what that was, and I'm sure there's a multiplayer mode involved, but it's kind of like a combination of King's Bounty, and I don't know, because when it gets to the all-out war scenes between the two groups clashing...
Oh, there is a game I've skipped. I played a lot, but then abandoned King's Bounty.
Yeah, I need to get back to that one, too. I've almost got the first one beat, and I have the other two still to go. And I'm enjoying it. There wasn't any reason for me to stop. It's one of those type of things. Yeah. Other than that, sprinkle of trying out stuff here and there, but largely taking care of work and family and self, because things have been kind of tough these days. Now,
things have been tough over here, too.
Yeah, I heard about you last week.
Yeah. Video games keep me sane right now.
And I guess I need to mention that there's been something really strange that happened to my computer lately. I've been having some problems with what seems to be the modem or possibly my ISP for a while, but all of a sudden, my firewall is taken down.
Wow.
And so I go looking around, and I do all my scans, I do all my searches. There's nothing new on my computer that I wasn't aware of. The scans turned up empty. It was just cookies, and not Cookie Clicker cookies. And I dig a little deeper, and I realized that my System Restore's list of files is gone. Something had deleted every last System Restore I've had since this computer, and I've had quite a few because I tend to be vigilant. I cannot find a single thing wrong with it, and yet there's all this weird stuff going on. And I had been, up until this week, been able to stream video from my computer to my Xbox with the big screen TV and everything, so it's kind of handy.
It's not letting you?
You find something on YouTube, I'll download it off and watch it on the big TV and share it with everybody. But it stopped recognizing my computer even existed. And so I started working with that a little bit, and all of a sudden the Xbox won't even recognize that it has Windows Media Center, which is the thing that connects it all. So whatever this is, it acts like it's hacking everything in the house, and I don't understand. I have looked on forums, they're kind of clueless.
Whoa.
I have weird stuff happen all the time, but this has got to be taking the cake because it doesn't seem like it's necessarily malicious, but it's taking everything down at the same time. I don't know. It's freaking me out. And this is happening at the same time that it sounds like a lot of your friends are getting themselves into virus trouble. So I know it's unrelated because theirs sounds completely different. They sound like they know what they got into.
Yeah, I got a minor virus, but mine was easy to contain and get rid of. And it wasn't even really completely a virus. It was just Facebook Messenger on the fritz. And it would pop up pages because it was trying to tell me, hey, you've got a message, but instead it would freak out and try to take me to Facebook. But it's just my browser does not allow that. I don't let my computer do that ever. Without me manually pressing it, just blocked it, and it just kept trying and trying and trying. But yeah, that's scary because sometimes you got the viruses that at first they do things that they're designed to do, and then after a certain time they react. They just start deleting shit like crazy and, you know, they sabotage everything. I'm terrified you're going to wake up one day and your computer's going to be screwed and you're going to lose a ton of data. So I'm just like,
In the meantime, I keep running scans. I keep trying to find new trustworthy scans to look into. I'm thinking about trying AVG again. They kind of screwed me over once. Zone Alarm screwed me over once, too.
I'm not fond of AVG, but sadly enough, they're on my computer right now.
They do good stuff.
They do good stuff when they do good stuff. They're kind of like WeatherBug. WeatherBug is nothing wrong with WeatherBug, but sometimes WeatherBug can do some really annoying shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we're completely off tangent now.
We're kind of at the point of the show where we just talk about whatever that's been going on lately. So.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I can't think of pretty much else that horrible weeks. Just like weeks after weeks.
Doesn't look like they're going to be stopping anytime soon on this end. I hope yours do a little bit.
Yeah, we had 2 deaths in the family within 2 days, and we've got somebody that's critically ill right now. So it's just like, oh no, we're going to have it again. You ever heard the phrase "it happens in threes"? Well, it always happens in threes in our family. So yeah.
Yay.
Well, the good news is, you know, these are older people. I mean, they were in their 70s, so even the one that's very ill right now, she's in her 70s. So it's not like when we lose like a 20-year-old or something. That's devastating to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's devastating when the older ones pass away, but at least you're just like, they lived a very long life.
Mm-hmm.
But when a 20-year-old dies, that's just like, oh my god.
That's one of those type of things, too, that if somebody's going to be in between suffering for 10 more years or passing away in a right state that they can be happy with, even though a lot of people are afraid of dying, I would rather take the, happier state. I'd rather take a quicker death.
Same with me. I would rather go before I'm in agony.
Well, on other slight topics, here's a first official shot of what Valve's new Steam machine may look like, and yeah, talk about a completely different topic turn there. This is a prototype version, of course, so the look is not likely to stay this way. It's probably going to evolve or change and all that sort of stuff.
I tell you, I like the controller a lot. That controller is very awesome.
It does sound like it's going to be one of the key systems to that particular design.
The touch analog system, which I know that's not what it's called, that is going to make for some amazing sensitivity.
Mm-hmm. And it's probably the only thing that could keep up with a mouse. Now we have something that can actually virtually replace a mouse.
Yeah, it looks mind-blowing.
In theory. We'll see.
Now when I'm trying to walk sideways in a game or make it a side scroll, if I don't do it, it'll be my own damn fault.
And then I would have liked to get Mike's opinion on this, but Nintendo's president Satoru Iwata, he made a statement today, and here's the quote: "Although the mainstream idea regarding the digital business in the industry before we actually started selling software in both digital and packaged format last year was that the digital version should or must be lower priced than its packaged counterpart, we decided that since the contents are the same, the company would offer the software at the same price, be it the packaged or digital version." That's the end of the quote. He goes on to clarify that if the demand is there for the digital for the same that's the demand for the packaged version, why shouldn't they cost the same?
That's not really good logic there. The reason you pay more for the non-digital is because, you have to put on CDs and stuff, and CDs cost money. Mm-hmm. For digital, there's no packaging or anything. That's why it's usually $10 off. With that thing, you're paying for stuff that doesn't exist. You're paying for a part that's just extra money for Nintendo, which I don't mind. There's them saying we'd like to keep the same price for both. There's not really much wrong with that.
As long as we're not getting charged for the packaging, that wouldn't probably be that big of a deal. In other words, if they took $5 to $10 off of their games that other people would normally sell more expensively, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But yeah, it's like you said, we are being charged for the packaged version.
It's very, very annoying to other people.
Oh yeah.
On another thing for Nintendo that drives me crazy, have they yet built a system that you log in, you have your account, and it's your account, and that you buy stuff and it stays there permanently?
I think it's still hard-coded to their specific systems. Now, the 3DS may be a little different, because I have heard about some trade-ins and stuff, and they keep their account, so maybe the Wii U is better off. This is why I would like Mike here.
Yeah, they need a system that lets you make it online, and that your stuff is safe in case your system dies, because system death is inevitable. It will happen eventually. And the fact is that if I bought 60 games, digital download, and my system dies, and I lose all that, and they're like, well, you gotta buy it all again, that is just outrageous to me. Nintendo, get your head out of your asses and buy a centralized system that's online where I don't have to worry about this problem. Then maybe I'll buy your systems again.
But here's the other controversy behind something like that. Unlike Steam, which is always going to be on the PC, a lot of these guys will upgrade to a completely new system every time they go on to the next. So all of these games that are on the 360 right now will only be able to be gotten hold of as long as Live is being supported. So it's not without reason that in another 5 years or so, Live will go. And when Live goes, what happens to all of those virtual games on our consoles?
They disappear.
Now, I'm hoping they'll allow some sort of install system, so as long as you have the hard drive space, you can keep them as long as you get it on there before they shut down the service. That's the honorable honorable thing to do with that.
You know what, Microsoft, they'll just shut it down and not give a crap.
And Sony's probably the same exact way.
Yeah. Sony seems nicer when it comes to online activity. They like to keep it under control. I mean, they're still doing support for Final Fantasy XI.
Of course, that's as much Square Enix as it is Sony.
Yeah, but it's still Sony. If you go for PlayStation 2 and ask questions, about this and this and this, even though they don't even support the PlayStation 2 anymore, it's completely shut down, they'll still do a reasonable attempt to help you.
Good for them.
Yeah. It just seems like Sony's always been in the long term. I mean, it almost sounds fanboyish, but I always think that when it comes to some support and stuff, Sony's always been better, even though they've made some bad mistakes.
And we all do.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't help when corporate gets involved. But follow us on Twitter at PrinnyCast. You can contact us with email at PrinnyCast@gmail.com. Find the rest of our links to YouTube and Twitch and all of those other stuff that we sometimes use down below. Catch us all next week, and possibly sooner. I don't know if Grover will be joining us for the BlizzCon episode. I don't know if Mike's even going to do one, but we're going to try to get him in here. And we'll see y'all next time.
See you next time.
Ooh, George isn't looking so hot.